Hi everybody, welcome to Inner Compass, the podcast where we navigate life's big questions, especially things that concerns motherhood journey, and the newborn as well as beyond. My name is Lovetti Lafua and today we're going to delve into sleep patterns. Yep, how can we actually develop and train the kids with sleeping? Should we even try to train the children in the first place how to sleep and when to sleep? Well, let's dive into this and see how the ancient people did it and of course, how best we can do it. On this episode, we're going to talk about what the ancient cultures did and how they did put the babies to sleep. We're going to dive into the psychological part, especially citing on Dr. Gabor Maté's work on child's development and what he has to say about this. Let me put you through the psychological effect of how sleep has to do with the development of your child. First, the importance of sleep. For babies, sleep isn't just a time of rest. It is a time for rest as well as critical development of their brain and their body. How do we know? It has been proven scientifically that during sleeps, a baby's brain develops and it forms new connections and communicates within itself. All the neurons are working together and asking questions and solving puzzles, especially for newborn. Oh, and not to forget that it supports physical growth as it releases the growth hormone during sleep, remember? Personally, I like to say it like this. It is that thing that would affect your personal growth as well as their emotional resilience, especially for a child. In other words, a consistent sleep pattern can affect the mood, your attention span, as well as the cognitive abilities. So it is not just for the child, but also for us as adults. But again, on this video, it's about the baby. Lest I forget, when the baby has a very consistent sleep pattern, it also enhances the communications and bond between families. So there is, due to this consistency, parents have to plan their own time evenings out, or maybe a time to just watch a movie. And considering the fact that after childbirth, one thing we don't have is time for ourselves. So a consistent sleep pattern is also very good for us as parents. With all of that being said, now, how do we create a very consistent and amazing sleep habit? Tell me. Interestingly, the ancient cultures has a lot to teach us about sleep. In many indigenous cultures, co-sleeping was and is still incorporated in their family routine. Children are meant to sleep close to their mothers, which promotes a sense of security. Well, I have my daughter who sleeps with me, and sometimes I get tired of it though. This kind of breathing is really very supportive for the child because when they're close to you, they feel you breathe, and it supports breastfeeding as well. So mama does not have to stand up at all time. You know what I mean? In many Japanese cultures, the babies are meant to sleep in between both parents, a way by which it promotes security and, for the baby, it's just an amazing way to do it. This also happens in many African cultures, but civilization is taking, I don't know if I should say that, but many parents nowadays do not want to do that. Apart from sleeping with a child, in African cultures, babies are wrapped all through the day. Like the babies are literally either on the back or on the arms. So when they're on the back, they are feeling the heartbeat and the sense of warmth and security. So I really think that this does not have to do with just Japan and other African cultures. That being said, it's important to understand that responsiveness to a child fosters a healthy development of a baby. All right, now let's go to something else. What does Dr. Gabor Maté, who is known for psychology of a child as well as the development of the child, has to say about this?
An infant is meant to panic when the parent is not there. So you don't pick that baby up. The baby can only attach by being held. I tell a mother cat that. But we tell our mothers, ignore your baby's crying. In other words, traumatize your child. But what's the message for the child? That you don't matter. Your feelings don't matter. And that you're all alone. That's the message.
According to Dr. Maté, sleep is deeply connected to the security of a child. There is something I personally find amazing that he said, which I used to struggle with, that forcing rigid sleep time and patterns can actually lead to stress in a baby. Well, I didn't know that. But now you know. Instead of rigid time sleep, he advocates for responsive parents' time with a child. So therefore, the quality of sleep of a child is closely interwoven with the closeness that they feel with their caregivers. This is something I struggle with personally because my daughter, she's quite of age, slept with me until recently. She's 9, she's 10, or actually she's 10 and she slept with me until recently, and I really did struggle with that. But that being said, it got to a stage where she could actually stand up and say, I'm going to sleep, and went into a room. So sort of, she has gotten the security she thought she needed. Well, you be the judge. If I would like to comment on Dr. Mace again, he said that a baby who has a very good sleep pattern will over time develop own rhythm and sleep pattern, that because they feel secured already and they've developed theirs. It begs the question, therefore, should we co-sleep or not? Personally, I love co-sleeping. I like the child there. I like the child, the moment they come into the world, they stay with me and as much as possible, right? But that being said, in today's society, we know that co-sleeping is not the main thing. Many people like to sleep train their children, which I have no right to judge them. There's no judgment here. It's just my comment is, I think a child needs the parents. Like, you want to imagine this child has been with you for 9 months and is out of the womb, and now you're putting them in a crib. They are confused. They don't feel your heartbeat. They don't get to, smell you, and they're quite confused at this time, even though they don't say it. So therefore, a gentle routine, physical closeness are very crucial for the emotional well-being of a child. Again, that's my take on it. And that's also the take of Dr. Gabor Maté. So if you're his fan, listen to what your idol just said. What are some practical steps that parents can actually take? Well, I have put out amazing habits that can actually assist the sleep pattern of a child. And this can actually start from earlier on. First of all, is the consistent bedtime routine. So creating a certain time that you say, okay, you sleep up, we put the baby to bed at a certain time, a calm time before then. So taking the baby for a bath, a soft massage, babies love that. You think they don't understand? Just read the stories to them. They know over time, they know that this is time to sleep. We have been able to talk about the sleep environment, but we didn't really call it that, which is where the baby sleeps should feel safe. Security is what the baby tend to want to have when they cry at night, mostly. So having a very safe environment is very important for the child to sleep well. I noticed that mothers struggle with, especially first-time mothers, is that they don't know the sleep cues of their babies. So a very typical and simple one is the rubbing of the eyes. When the babies are rubbing eyes, they're tired, they want to sleep. You also see that the baby can get just erratic and just cry for no reason. And sometimes all you need to do is just take the child on your shoulder and they're gone. They're just like gone, It is also very important that you have a flexible schedule. So let the natural rhythm take its course. The rigid ones are more likely the ones that will make the child feel like, I am missing out something. Somebody is forcing me to do something, and not feel like it is what my body needs. Does that make sense? So I think it's very important to have a flexible schedule on sleep. Over time, you'll see that the flexible schedule will become a very fixed time though. Responsive parenting, allowing the baby, like we said, to sleep in a very safe environment. And all of these are steps that you could take to have a very, very good sleep pattern for the child. It's important that you respond to the child. I'm going to hammer a little bit on that one because security does matter for you to sleep. Remember when you were a child that everything was a monster, and the moment you got close to mommy or daddy, you felt safe and you just snored. Daytime activity is something that I like to also tell mothers. So it's important for you to engage the baby with stimulating activities during the daytime. Whatever, playing some games with the child. You think they really don't understand? I wish you could just go into their brain and see what they know. I like to also use comfort objects like a teddy bear, lolly, whatever, Barbie, whatever they like to call it, the children. This makes them feel very, very, something they're holding on to. I think it's also very important to know that this should be done in a time you think the child is safe with it, okay? And of course, you don't want to give the child that will put everything in their mouth a knife. So that we want to look out for as well. So comfort objects are quite good. This one is hard for people that have a big family, but hey, you could actually just try and find a way around it. You want to minimize the noise around the house and the lights. So like my room right now has some light because I'm doing this video, but it's not as much as I would love it to be. But if we want to sleep, I'm not going to turn on the light like this. So minimizing the room light, reducing noise is very vital. So the eating pattern is also very important. So I like to tell mothers to really feed their baby before they get extremely tired, because when they're extremely tired, then they can't eat enough. And if they don't eat enough, they're likely to wake up again to eat. So you want to prevent that from happening. Feed the baby. If you go to bed at 8, you want to feed the baby at 7. And so by the time they're done eating, whoops, who knows, they're snoring already. Sleep has got a very profound effect of the psychological development of a child. I have noticed that when a baby is well rested, they are more nurturing, they are more, their cognitive are quite higher, and they form more secured attachment than a baby who is always tired. It influences emotional regulation, memories, and even the development of language. Okay, let's not forget, my goal is not just the child having a long sleep. It's for the child to have a long quality sleep that supports his or her overall well-being. My name is Lovetti Lafua, and if this episode resonates with you, comment below. And if there is something you want me to talk about in the next video, make sure to write it down there so we can dabble into it. Until next time, see you in the next episode.